commit an error in English, I have to tell you that correcting someone's English in this country is not an easy job, because when you correct someone's mistakes in his English or in her English, he or she feels offended. I have seen friends becoming foes, enemies, because one of them corrected the other's English. Really? How dare he correct my English? How dare you correct my English? I have seen literally husband and wife quarreling because the husband corrected the wife's English. And if the wife corrects the husband's English, there would be a third world war. Really. Because men feel very insulted. See, the point is, an error in English which you or me commit is not just an error. In this country, it is a matter of, English is a matter of aristocracy, power, it is a matter of prestige, it is a power of one's self-esteem. If you correct a lady's English, she feels offended. You may not believe this. I gave a course on managerial communication at a very prestigious management institute. I don't want to name the institute. A very prestigious management institute. The institute then was charging 13 lakh rupees for a 20-month course, MBA. Such a prestigious one. And the students who come to that MBA course are all the children of Indian multinationals, businessmen, industrialists, very high level families, very high level students. They all think that they are on 11th cloud, the students. So I gave them a course. It is a very tough job, giving a course to final year MBA students on managerial English. Our ordinary English lecturers would be totally confused if they were to face such an audience. I remember how I faced an all-female Muslim girls class in Libya, where it was almost like the 1857 Sipahi revolt. Horrible to control those Muslim young ladies, majority of them in the class, we cannot imagine. That is why I say the most challenging job for an English teacher is, first of all, how to control these idiotic students, how to control them and make them listen to what you say. So at this institute, the head of the institution gave an examination question paper. I don't want to say whether the head was a male or a female or an in-between. I don't want to say that. So the question paper was given, the students wrote the answers, and I evaluated the answers. And each student has a right to come to the concerned faculty and ask why he or she has been given 3.5, 4 or 5 and why not 6. Understand? I had to explain to every student why I had given such a number of marks. So finally I told the HOD very hesitantly, I think there are some mistakes. And the HOD said, is it? First I asked in the class, do you find any errors in the question paper? They said, no sir. I told them there are 21 errors in the question paper. They were shocked. And they even made fun of me on the last day at a party, that Mr. Grammar instead of Mr. Rao. Okay. So I told the HOD there are 21 mistakes in the question paper. And obviously the HOD felt terribly offended. Then the HOD said, I took it from a book. I said, in typical chaste English, I asked a question, who is it by? Usually in Indian English we say, who wrote the author, who is the author, who is his father-in-law, who is his mother-in-law. And I asked the HOD, who is it by? And the HOD said, I took it from a book. I said, who is it by? An Indian author. I said, that is the reason. An Indian MBA expert writing a book on communication in English can never be, I swear can never be 100% correct in English. Not even 7%, may not be even 70%. But the point is, those management heads who wield a lot of power and who draw a salary of 3-4 lakhs per month, they think they are the big guns even in English. I found 21 errors in the question paper. And do you know what happened? My contract for 60,000 rupees for 16 sessions was not renewed for the next year. I am not telling a story. I lost 60,000 rupees for correcting 20 mistakes in the question. Really happened. You may say that may not have been the only reason, maybe, but that was also a reason because correcting in English, someone's English in this country is a terrible matter. And if I say, pardon me, in one of the PUC English textbooks, there is a page, I have removed all the designation parts. There are 6 errors on the page in your textbook. But it is signed by an officer. If you go to the officer and say, there are 6 mistakes, sir, in this message that you have sent and published, your salary bill may not be passed next year. Okay. Your salary bills will not be passed if you point out the errors in your boss's English. Okay. This happens. And the incidents I quote are the incident which really happened as far as English language teaching is concerned in this country. So, you English teachers of this generation have to be doubly careful on many fronts, not just on one front. And in another incident, an NRI staying in the States translated a book from Kannada into English. And the translated book came to me for editing. And he is a guy who is drawing something like 5 to 7 lakhs of rupees per month in America. He has written the book, translated. And when I went through the book, I found, honestly, 401 errors. 401. I scanned all the 401 pages and sent it to the so-called sponsor who sponsored the book. And the guy was shocked. And the head of the institution came to me running and said, "What is this, sir? If you say 300, 400 mistakes in the book, what should happen to us? He is the financier. He gives us money. And if you say in his English there are 400 mistakes." I said, as a language specialist, it is my job. Hereafter I won't correct any English. And then I say, I told him here, I never correct anybody's English. Even now, I never correct anybody's mistakes in English unless 2 conditions are fulfilled. Condition number 1, either he or she requests me to correct. Number 2, either I am paid for my correcting jobs. No free service. I do free service and get for no fault of mine. And here is a shocking thing for an old, I should not say old, I will come to that later. Here is a shocking thing. A page from International Journal of Creative Research and International Journal of Creative Research Thoughts. It is an international journal. And some fellow has worked on English tenses. It is a research paper. On the first page, in 3 paragraphs, I find 15 errors. One day, some English teachers may shoot me and kill me if I go on correcting English like this. 15 errors in a research paper published in an international journal of creative research thoughts. And if this is the fate of English published in an international journal, published by a research scholar who has worked on errors in English tense forms. What would be the fate of those who learn English as a second language? And this is the result of what I call overconfidence. People don't give their writing in English for editing, they feel insulted. In Ethiopia, there was a professor of instrumentation engineering, who gave me a page on the importance of instrumentation, and I found 32 errors on an A4 size sheet. But the point is, this kind of English is okay in other subjects, where only the content counts, not the medium. But in English, the point is, it is a reflection on an English teacher's prestige and proficiency when somebody finds an error. And you may ask me, how come those errors? When I was a student in England, my university department, English department, conducted a survey, a research on the use of the definite article the, just one word. It is the most troublesome word in English language for one who knows English. And they found a native educated British, not a British flower seller, a native educated British takes almost 10 years to master the use of the definite article the. And at the Manchester Hospital, they conducted a survey for the sake of the Indian doctors who come and work there. And they found 50 different ways of a British lady saying that she was pregnant. 50 different ways to say that one is carrying. So the hospital had to give a course to these Indian doctors. Otherwise, if she comes and says in her own idiom that she is pregnant, this man may give a medicine for abortion. Who knows? This is the actual fate. And remind me when my time is up. Yamakinkara Pidana Pariyara. I have edited 18 PhD theses, 18 PhD theses written by not ordinary students, written by M.Tech postgraduates in science and engineering. That too at a very, very prestigious institution, an institution which says on the internet, an institution of national importance. It says an institution of national importance. I have edited 18 PhD theses. Believe it or not, in every PhD thesis, on an average, 350 to 600 errors of different kinds. And a Tamil lady, an associate professor, one day came to me running. She said, "Sir, my research scholar," she was teaching chemistry at the institute. Her research scholar, because you know the rule, unless a research scholar's 2 research papers are published in an international journal, they won't be awarded the degree. At least 2 research papers must be published in an international journal. So her student had written a research paper and had sent it to an international journal for chemistry. And you know what they do usually? Whenever there are English language errors in a research paper, there is international journal review committee. It sends back the research paper and says, get it corrected by a language expert. So it came to me, and in a research paper of about 7 pages, I found something like 72 errors also, corrected them, edited them, and then I had to give a certificate. I, so and so, holding a master's degree in applied linguistics from the University of Manchester, certify that I have edited the research paper. Only then the paper would be accepted, and the fellow will get the PhD, and then he will earn not less than 10 to 12 crores in his service. Because once they get this PhD from an institute of that significance, they get a job anywhere, and they manage to get a job with not less than 1.4 lakh per month. Understand? So this is the condition. And so now the challenge is, you have two poems in your textbooks. One poem is the tree, and the other one is water. When I went through the two poems, I found that certain words in the poem would be a problem of communication at this juncture of time, when English idiom has been changing very fast. You may know this. Every day, 200 new English words enter the English language. Every day, 200 new English words enter the English language from all over the world. And new expressions actually enter, depending on the political, social developments in the world. For example, when Obama was the president of America, there was an expression, she saw Obama, she saw Obama, by which they meant so calm and quiet, not aggressive. Do you understand what I mean? She saw Obama. So an English teacher has to be alert. In the same way, the word selfie became popular all over the world. I know most of you, all of you have heard of this word selfie, and many number of people have actually died because of taking the selfie on a rock in the sea or on a hillside. So along with the mobile, they also went off. Selfie. But the point is, along with the selfie, they also, three other words also entered the English language. Belfie, have you heard? Belfie, no. Pelfie, Belfie, selfie, and lelfie, Lelfie. If you ask me to give the meaning, but I always tell my students, as a language expert, I have to tell my students, look, this is what is what. Belfie is taking the photograph of someone's posterior bottom. Belfie. Belfie is taking the photograph of a lady's naked legs. And Belfie is taking a photograph of the genitals. But these words are popular in the American social circles, but nobody knows. And if a student were to ask me, sir, what is Belfie or what is Belfie, any teacher would be surprised. But this is what is happening in English language. That is why I always say, I am still a student of this bastard language English. Still, because there are no rules, no set rules in English. Rules change depending on the rulers and those who are in power. And if you attempt to correct those in power, to correct the errors committed by those in power, you may get into trouble. For example, I told you just now, you cannot use certain words now in your PC textbook, the two poems, the tree and water. They are based on what is called in today's parlance political correctness, untouchability, Dalits. You cannot use the word Palaya. You cannot use the word Harijan in the classroom now. You can use only the word Dalit for an untouchable. In the same way, when I was a student, my teachers, while explaining the American Revolution, the slave trade, Abraham Lincoln's fight against slavery, they would easily say the Negroes. But today, if you use the word Negro in New York, you may be shot dead. It is highly, very highly, terribly not political. It is politically not correct. Because you have to say a black, you cannot say a Negro. So if an Indian teacher goes to America and uses the word Negro in the classroom, or even here perhaps, people may object to that. Because this is what we mean by English language teaching in the changing social, emotional context. People feel touchy these days the moment you use a single word. I have seen English medium school parents coming to school and arguing with the teachers about the mistakes they correct in their words English. They say, why is this mistake? Some 35 years ago, when I corrected a couple of English mistakes in my 10-year-old son's English notebook, and when my son went to school and showed it to the teacher and said, this is, my dad says these are the mistakes he has corrected, she literally wept. I feel sorry for her. And the headmaster called me to school and asked me, what, Mr. Rao, you say there are errors in English. Our teachers feel demoralized if you correct their English. We have to understand this. It is not an easy thing to say and dismiss. It is a fact. People, and I remember a biology lecturer one day correcting my English. I used an expression, this is not what is expected of you. I said, this is not what is expected of you. And he immediately said, I mean, this is not what is expected from you. Of you is chaste English, from you is Indian English. And in India, your English is okay, no problem. That is why many times I tell people, your English is okay for your level. Because we no longer talk of good English and bad English. We today talk of standard English. You need not be, your English need not be standard English all the time. With the people who are substandard, you can use substandard English, no problem. But the point is, when you appear before a committee or when you sit in an interview committee and when people find fault with someone's English, it is a really a tough job. That is why these days, I don't know, it may come shortly, we are still using the word uneducated, illiterate. We say that boy's parents are illiterate, but no longer. Actually, to say that someone is uneducated or illiterate is today politically incorrect. They say, not uneducated, alternatively schooled or differently schooled. Not uneducated. Uneducated feels, see, if somebody tells, his parents or your parents are uneducated, he feels insulted. And if I say, your parents are differently schooled, very prestigious, alternatively schooled. I'm not sure. In the same way, I was telling someone the other day, the man who climbs the coconut tree and plucks the coconuts and drops safely not on your head is also educated. You can't call him uneducated. You have to say differently educated. You may not believe this. Vasayana's Kama Sutra, a great classic, lists 64 schools of education. Vatsayana makes a long list of 64 different branches of education, including dishwashing in the kitchen. When I was in England, an American friend of mine from Manipal came to see me, and my classmate Janet, who was married to a German and had been divorced, of my 5 British classmates, 5 ladies, all the 5 ladies were divorced 35 years ago, not now. So my American friend came, and I took him to my friend's classmate's house. And I asked her, as we do in India, especially women, when they go to someone's house, they go to the kitchen and ask the lady of the house, can I help you? No. So I went and asked this lady, may I help you, Jan? She said, not now, Bhaskar. Help me do the dishes after the dinner. Help me do the dishes after the dinner. And my students will never understand what is this bloody doing the dishes after the dinner. It actually meant help wash the vessels that we use for our dinner and then wipe it properly